for the
But it
raffle.
did feel really good. Like,
Yes.
good again, not just general talent.
Mm.
They were really digging into my nuts.
Yeah.
Nuts. Not nuts. You are such a middle school boy.
What?
Are you
That's
proud?
what I was thinking. Welcome on board the Royal Caribbean Independence of the Seas. If you are very observant, you might notice I'm not the only person in this video. This woman sitting next to me is my older sister.
Much younger. Way, way, way younger.
She has children, and her children constantly need to be reminded that I'm older than she is. When you look at us, she definitely doesn't look older than me, but that's neither here nor there. This is her first cruise. I've been on so many cruises, and we've done a lot of fun things together. We've been to several theme parks, not only in Orlando, but also Minnesota, Wisconsin.
Chicago.
Did we ever go there together? Oh, when I was working there. But this is the first time that I've managed to be able to reel her onto a cruise ship. And as somebody who's done quite a bit of cruising, it's really interesting for me now to cruise with somebody who has never been on a cruise ship and just sort of go through the things that for me nowadays, especially on a Royal Caribbean ship, it seems like common sense to me, but then I realize, wait a second, no, there's no way that somebody who's never been on a ship before could know that. So thank you to her for, bringing me back down to earth again. And I just wanted to go through some of those things and kind of go through like step by step through the process with you to help you. But now that you've been on board for basically like exactly 24 hours, how do you feel that the boarding process is different than what you expected, other than the fact that the Uber driver in Miami didn't know how to get to the cruise port?
I thought boarding went really easy. I feel like it was so much shorter than what I was even anticipating.
How were you picturing it? Did you think it was going to be like waiting in a long line and then having to like go up to a counter? And
honestly, I don't know that I ever really spent time picturing boarding the cruise, but I guess I did imagine, and maybe it's because I saw pictures of it, or I don't know. But I did imagine like we would have to wait outside in line, like turnstile type line with our suitcases in the hot sun and the seagulls all around.
Can you show the seagulls again, please?
Seagulls.
I mean, I don't want to say that the boarding process that we had now was necessarily totally typical, because I have had exactly that.
Okay.
But I've also had like what we had. So we had this friendly Uber driver who unfortunately did not know, driving Uber in Miami, how to get to the cruise port. Excuse me?
But it was a Tesla.
It was a Tesla. It was a pretty baby blue Tesla.
My first time.
There was that as well. You've ridden now in a Tesla for the first time. You've been on a cruise for the first time. Tonight, you're going to go and sing karaoke for the first time. That's just so many fun first times. But so the boarding process was pretty simple this time. One thing that I realized I had to explain was what happens with the suitcases when you show up at the port. And one thing that also a first time for me, for those of you who watch like all these videos, you know that I'm getting towards the end of a really big trip. Since I left home, I was on the Margaritaville at Sea Paradise cruise ship, on the Celebrity Equinox. I spent a week in Miami, and now we're on this ship. And when Marcus and I boarded the Equinox in Miami, we did something I've also never done before, and that is we just took our whole suitcases with us through the boarding process and schlepped them up onto the ship with us. I've never done that before. I didn't even know it was possible, to tell you the truth, but we did it. It is possible. Let me know if you all know if there's some cruise lines where that's not allowed.
I didn't see anybody doing that today or yesterday.
Yesterday, yeah. I didn't either. But the porters, he was like right there when we got out of the Tesla, when we finally made it to the port in the Tesla. Yeah. And do you remember walking like into the ship and seeing the Royal Promenade? You know, that big hallway. Like, can you talk about like what you were thinking when you saw that?
I mean, it was like bigger and better than what I was expecting, because I honestly thought that was just in the movies, with all of the extravagance and the elevators with glass going up and down and the lit up ceiling. That was so much more than what I was really anticipating it actually being like. I intentionally didn't watch your video of walking through. It was like one of your latest videos about a Royal Caribbean ship. I intentionally didn't watch it.
She pretends that she just didn't watch that one, but I don't think anybody in my family really watches my videos.
I've never seen any of them. I never sit down and watch them with my children either.
Mm.
You're just too boring. And old. He's so old. That was bigger and better than what I anticipated.
Good cover up. Good cover up. I know you said one thing about the cabin, and I might be responsible for this too. I was trying to prepare her for the fact that we're going to be sharing a cabin and that it's smaller than a hotel room. And I think I might have gone a little bit overboard because I know you said that you felt
This is way bigger than what I was anticipating. I think I was picturing it being like an overnight train car where it's just a tiny little, like half of this size and little tiny beds.
Or like in an aircraft carrier. I said that's an example I had.
With like the soldiers, you just have to crawl into your little bunk.
And there's a toilet in the corner, almost like a prison cell or
It's a
something.
hotel when you go to the bathroom.
How would you compare it though to like a normal, like a Super 8 hotel room or a, Holiday Inn or whatever?
It's smaller than that, but I feel like all of the same amenities are here. There's still a couch and a little center table and a desk and a bathroom with a Morgan approved door.
It is. I guess you have watched at least one of my videos. You're such a good sister. Thumbnail. And one of the first things we did when we got on board was go to have lunch. Where did we go? Ooh, quiz. Do you remember what it's called?
The Windjammer.
Oh, I've got her hooked already, people. So you all know that I don't like to eat meat. It's something that a lot of you like to comment on. I feel like whenever I'm posting pictures of my food, there's always one or two people who write something like,
"Where's the beef?"
Well, my sister has been eating the beef, but what she doesn't eat is gluten. So that's been also something that's kind of new for me, what it's like to navigate through the gigantic, huge Windjammer buffet, but find things that are gluten-free or gluten-friendly.
Gluten-friendly.
And
I'm not celiac. I just can't eat much gluten.
And so when we walked into the teeny tiny buffet with just a small selection of food there, what did you think when we walked in there?
Okay, so to be honest, my first impressions walking into the buffet for the first time, it was definitely much bigger than any buffet. Like I've been to a casino buffet and that's big. So that was the same in that there's like a variety of foods. I think in my head, I was picturing the gluten friendliness being more like at Disney World, at the Disney World Resort, where you can go up and ask for chicken fingers and they'll find a way to make chicken fingers gluten free for you. One thing, and I hope I'm not just sounding spoiled or whatever, but when I go to a buffet and there's a sign that says gluten free, and I think people who are not gluten free are like,
"Oh, look, they're gluten friendly. That's great. You'll find all kinds of wonderful things."
One thing that I was disappointed so far is there really aren't that many gluten free options. Like the gluten free option for lunch yesterday, it was like beef stroganoff, mashed potatoes, and corn on the cob, roasted
pumpkin, right?
pumpkin,
Or
which was
sweet
that was
potatoes
good.
or something like that, yeah.
But there's all of these options, like huge extravagance in different cultured foods, and that's what people think of for a cruise. But for someone who has to eat gluten free, it's kind of a downer to walk into this beautiful arrangement of all of these delicious foods and have the option of beef stroganoff and mashed potatoes. Of course, there's a salad bar, but being gluten free, that's like what you eat a lot of. It's not special to have a salad bar.
I know what you mean. It's like when I go someplace and tell people I'm vegetarian and they say,
"Oh, you must want to eat a salad."
like that's
Right.
Oh yeah, that's all we eat is salads. Yeah.
Yeah. And like there wasn't even gluten-free pasta in the little pasta bar. That just wasn't an option.
Well, didn't they say we can make gluten-free pasta, but we have to go downstairs and get it and it's going to take a while or something like that?
Yeah, that was interesting because sometimes I don't want to ask about gluten-free because I've had the experience where they won't let me take anything then that has gluten in it. And for me, it's okay for me to eat a little bit of gluten. So sometimes I'm afraid to ask. But so I did ask, and the first gentleman that I talked to was super friendly, and he made it sound like everything is possible. And he took me to this other gentleman who was more of like a captain of the food or something.
Maybe like a manager,
Well,
the
he
food
looked more,
captain.
he looked more like captain. He had like a
There's a captain of the ship, the captain of security, and the captain of the food.
he had like a pilot's uniform on.
That's what the officers wear on board, and the officers are like in a manager position.
I want to use the word manager. I want to use the word captain because it sounds much better.
Okay,
So
so
the
the food
captain
captain.
of the food. He seemed much less wanting to help. He At first he was like, no, no, no gluten-free pasta, and then he walked me through the buffet and just showed me the same items that say gluten-free, which I can do myself. That it wasn't helpful. And I asked again about the gluten-free pasta, and then he kind of hemmed and hawed, and he said, well, I can get you gluten-free pasta, but I'd have to walk downstairs and get it and then bring it up and cook it, so it would be extra time. So at that point, it just felt like inconvenient. It's no longer the convenience and the fun of the buffet when the people that you're with are already, halfway through eating and you haven't gotten your pasta.
One of the nice things about going to buffet is there's lots of choices and it's immediately ready,
Right.
and you just pick what you want and sit down and eat it. And what you're describing is more like going to a restaurant. So yeah, then
And a
why
very limited
bother
restaurant.
going to, yeah, I get it. I get it. I know one of the things to like skip to a different topic. Molly's a mom and also works and isn't able to travel the same like all the time like I am. And so we were looking at a limited time frame and also a specific budget. And there were just a couple cruises that came that were possible for us for this trip. And the one we chose was this one on the Independence of the Seas. We left Miami on Monday and we will be returning on Friday. And we're stopping at one port, Labadee, where we're going to do this amazing zip line that I'm so excited to do.
Really cool.
So excited to do. Really cool. But when I told her, okay, well, there's this cruise and we're stopping at one port, one of the first things that she asked me was, well, what else are we going to do? What is there to do? So how do you feel about you asking that question now that we've been on the ship for 24 hours?
Yeah, no, there's plenty of things to do. Being a theater kid, I love that there's a lot of shows that we can go see. And I think it's cool that you can meet the people in the shows in other roles on the ship, because I feel like there's just a connection. Theater kids have a connection. And so I thought that was cool.
We seem to somehow be gravitated towards them. If there's one in the ship somewhere doing something else, somehow we find them. It's like, wait, what? I sent somebody over there who may be doing pliés and fondues. Was that a chassé touch? What did we do last night? What show did we see last night?
Oh, there was a really neat ice skating show, and the talent was crazy. I think I was thinking it would be more general talent, but this was like incredibly skilled ice skaters doing moves that seem incredibly dangerous. So I was really impressed with the talent level, and it makes me more excited to see some of the other shows, realizing that it's not just a general talent, but it's a very skilled and professional talent level.
So you were thinking, maybe if I could like paraphrase what you're saying, were you thinking it was going to be a little bit more like sort of like amateur level and not expecting it to be like such a high professional level?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
And like maybe the people who do the ice skating show also do the theater show. But clearly these ice skaters this is their profession and what they are investing all of their energy in. It was really awesome, really professional.
Yeah, and I'm really excited for you to see. We found out from one of our chats with one of our friends, who work on board here in the cast, that
it was a theater.
that this cast is brand new on board. The singers and dancers are brand new on board, and their premiere in Greece is going to be on this cruise. So we get to see like a premiere, and we're really looking forward to that. I know you didn't see me in Greece, did you? No.
I don't think so.
I
saw Mamma Mia like 45 times.
Yeah, one of the first professional shows that I did when I moved to Europe was Greece. So it'll be interesting for me to see another professional production of it as well. I'm really looking forward to that. And tonight there is I can't remember the name of the show, but it's a dance focused show. And we've been joking about it because where we grew up, there was a specific dance studio and it was named after this woman who still doing it and still looks amazing. And she's
Yes.
definitely over 60. Anyways, because tonight's show is just dance focused, we've been calling it the dance recital, that person dance recital. So that's our name
I'm
for
sure
it.
it'll be just like the dance recitals I was in first grade.
Probably. At least there's going to be scrunchies and leg warmers and a lot of hairspray.
Kickball changes.
Yes. So you realize now that I think that what you were thinking is what a lot of people think before they go on their first cruise, that you get on the ship and then you go to the room and then you wait for dinner and then you go to dinner and then you go back to the room and there's nothing else to do until you get to like the first island or the first stop. Is that?
Well, it's not that I thought we'd spend a lot of time in our room, but I thought there would be a lot more focus on swimming and like having your swimsuit on and sitting out in the sun all day, which is not something that I generally like to do anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like to be really hot. Like never in my life have I liked to be really hot.
I know that because
not hot.
We have the air conditioning at the lowest setting right now.
I'm actually sweating.
Remind me again to take extra blankets if I go on a cruise with my sister. You missed this last night, by the way. When we showed up in the cabin, the bed was one bed, and I told the captain of our cabin, I told him, oh, we're brother and sister, so could we please have two beds? And he's like, oh yeah, no problem. When you went to take your shower last night and I was getting into bed, I don't know if you got this, but I lay down in bed and threw that blanket over me, and something on that blanket, I sneezed like 40 times in a row.
No.
I can't believe, I was sure you were going to come out and ask me what's wrong. So yeah, I can't use that blanket, but this has been really warm anyway. So tangent. There's some other things I want to ask that I know are going to be interesting for all of you. But before I get to that, let me just invite you to subscribe to the channel. You might see more of her, but if the numbers on this video go down, then that's probably also not going to happen. All right, final thing I wanted to ask you is, I know one thing that was so crazy for me the first time I got on one of these bigger Royal Caribbean cruise ships is everything that's on the top of the ship. So, like I knew from the first cruise that I was on that, oh, okay, cruise ships have like a pool. The top deck is like the space, and then there is a pool. And the first ship I was on didn't have any of the rest of this stuff. So can you tell people a little bit about like what it is that's up there and what you were thinking?
So when we went to the top, there were, the first thing we saw was the big kids play area, like water playground.
Yeah.
Which my kids are a little bit older now, but when they were younger, they would have loved that. There's like the big dumping bucket and sprayers and.
So if you have to take a big dump, there's a bucket there.
You're like a middle schooler. So that was really cool. And if you have kids under 10, that would have been super fun for my kids.
Your kids would still love it if there were no other kids around. Like if it was just reserved for us, we would still have a great time there. Yes. Yeah.
Now my kids are older and there was a basketball court, there's ping pong, pickleball. I'm trying to think of all the things that were the wave rider where you can surfboard.
Low rider.
But it was neat to see the wide variety of like for kids of all ages.
Water slides.
Oh yes, there was water slides. And there was a big pool area and then also the adult pool area.
Both my sister and I have had several massages in our life.
Oh yes.
And here's a little tip, a little insider tip for you. I don't know if I've ever talked about it this way, but a lot of cruise ships offer on the first day of the cruise a spa tour. And it's basically a way that they can start sort of advertising to you and try to reel you in and get you to book some treatments. The prices are always so much higher than what's offered on land. And if you don't know it, you can also get massages at fabulous spas on land that cost like half or even less than half. If you want a massage, you don't have to wait till you get on a cruise ship. Anyways, if you go to the spa tour and have somebody show you around and pretend like you have no idea what's going on and you've never had a massage. What is massage? Is that where somebody just like rubs lotion on your skin? They'll give you a free tiny little massage.
Cue acting. A massage?
Oh, what did she say? How do you spell that?
Is that English?
That sounds exactly
culture.
Yes. So we both got like mini massages yesterday. Perfect. That I feel like would have gone on longer, but the raffle was starting.
Yes.
And then so we signed up for the raffle.
But it did feel really good. Like,
yes.
Good again, not just general talent. They were really digging into my nuts.
Yeah.
Nuts. Not nuts. You are such a middle school boy.
What?
Are you
That's what I was thinking.
Gosh.
All right, we have like 2.5 more days left on board. Tomorrow we're going to be in Labadee and do the zip line, and maybe we'll do the coaster. The coaster is sold out except for single passes, and a single pass to ride the coaster is over $20. And honestly, it's really fun, but it's not over $20 fun. So I don't know.
That's hard because I would love to try it because it's something I've never done. I've never even, I don't even think, I've been on Hawaii. It's something I've never done, but it's hard to think that I would fit something in the budget that's like $30 to go on the roller coaster one time. I really wish we would have gotten those other passes.
Well, but did you see in the app, the other passes, the all-day pass is $54, and...
Yeah, but we could ride it a whole bunch of times then.
That's true.
Even just riding it twice would make it worth it.
When we get on the island, we're going to try to like slip somebody a 20 and see if they'll let us ride it. Subscribe, stay tuned to see if we end up in jail or if we get to ride the coaster.
Send bail.
But I'm looking forward to doing that, and also looking forward to seeing Greece and doing some other things. And yeah, and if you want to see what else it is we get up to on this cruise, on this ship, just make sure you check back. And like I said, if you're subscribed, you'll get an update about when the next video comes. Any final thoughts?
Hi, kids. I'm on the YouTube.
All right, everybody. Thanks for hanging out. I hope you have a great day, whatever day it is that you're watching this, and I'll see you back here soon.
Bye.